Welcome to Inside a Caucus, a first-hand look at the infamous Iowa caucuses. I'm Rachel Droz, and I am here live at the Des Moines University Olson Center, where people are still pouring in. So it is after 7 o'clock. This caucus, you can no longer get in line, but there are still people registering. So, Frankie, if we can kind of turn the camera just a little bit, you can see there the lines are dying down. People are starting to take their seats. Just probably 10 or so minutes ago, those lines were out the door. So now, Frankie, let's turn the camera back around. You can see all of these chairs over here once we get the camera over there. There are 668 chairs in this location, I'm told. Now, there are people standing along the walls. There are still some empty seats, though, but I have a feeling that there might be more people than chairs here. Now, we're going to go to an aerial shot of the room. We have a few different cameras set up for you at home. We're going to be taking a look around this whole room throughout the night, checking in on what really happens inside of the Iowa caucuses. There are only Democrats at this caucus. There are two different types of caucuses. Democrats have one, Republicans have one. These really are just party meetings. That's what a caucus is. It's a party meeting. Here at the actual caucus, though, they, of course, do have that presidential pick. They get into preference groups and say, I'm going to support X candidate. Now, here at the Democrats, they have quite a few candidates to pick from. We actually mic'd up an undecided voter tonight. We will be following him throughout the night and checking in on how he actually makes up his mind. Now, he is a 25-year-old Des Moines man. He told me that in the past, this is his third caucus. In the past, he has been decided when he walks in. This is his first time coming in undecided. He says that there's just too many options right now, that he wants to hear those last-minute pitches to make that final choice. Now, that up there is the caucus chair, so if we can raise up his microphone and maybe go to that wide shot while we get him framed up,
leaders
up on the stage to get
that
take a listen
while
to what
we
he is
have
saying.
you sitting in certain areas relating to your campaign, the extent to which we need to fill every seat, other campaigns should be aware that we will be sending other people in to fill seats. And that's okay, because eventually we're going to break up into our groups anyway and move around a little bit. So the most important thing for you to know is that there should be enough chairs for everyone, and we have more that we can bring out if we need them. So with that, I'm going to ask Rob Sand to come forward. Rob. You may know he is our state auditor, the first Democrat in a very long time?
50 years.
In 50 years. Holy mackerel. And Rob asked if he could say a few words here tonight. I know he has to move on and do something else, but if you want, you can use that. Yeah, let's turn it on for you.
Hi, home precinct. Anybody got a birthday tonight? Anybody? You? What's your name? Austin. It's Austin's birthday. My brother-in-law, Carlos, it's his birthday. You? What's your name? Can we sing Austin, Ashley, and Carlos happy birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Austin and Carlos. Happy birthday to you. I wanted to do that just to make a point. This is our neighborhood, right? We're in this together. When they say that democracy is messy, welcome to the mess, right? This isn't voting where you just walk into a booth and you fill in the bubbles and then you leave. This is where we get together as a neighborhood and we talk about all of the issues that we care about and we try to figure out who might be the best person to represent us, right? But all of these people whose names are on these signs, they're people. They're not saviors. I'm not endorsing anyone. I'm not caucusing for anyone. And the reason is I want everybody, if I can, if people only hear me say one thing, is that it's not about finding a savior, it's about making a sacrifice. And if you care about winning in November, then I hope that you'll figure out what your story is going to be. That you tell people 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now about what you did in the summer and the fall of 2020 to try to protect American institutions, to try to protect American values, right? And to try to put our country back on the right track. Because at the end of the day, what is much more important, I think, than who we pick here tonight is what we do after the picking is done. So in that respect, I'm not going to stand up here and talk at you, but I want to have us sing a song to each other because we're a neighborhood and we're a community. And then I want to say, keep in mind as you're doing this tonight and as we're going forward, at the end of the road, we all have a lot of work to do, and I hope that you will join me in deciding what it is that you're going to sacrifice in the summer and in the fall of 2020 to make sure that we win back the White House. Thanks. Have a good night.
Again, if you are just joining
Once
us,
everyone
we are
is
live
checked,
inside
then
a
we will
Democratic
begin.
caucus at Des
If
Moines
we
University.
have
Now we're going to
any
dip back
voters
into the
who are
audio to listen
standing,
to
I'm going to
the
ask
caucus
that
chair.
when we get close to check-in, when we get close to get going, that you be seated. Because when we do the count of how many people are here, we know how many seats are in each section. And it would be wonderful for our counters just to be able to walk through and count the very few empty seats so that we can very quickly get a count of how many folks are in the room so we can determine viability very quickly. So that's why it's important to be seated. And I think we still have a little bit of time yet before we would get going because we still have a few more people to check in, but we're very close to being done. Thank you for being here tonight.
All right, so you just heard from our caucus chair. We are still finishing checking people in at Des Moines University. We are at the Olson Center. The doors behind me are now closed. It is past 7 o'clock, so those that are here are the ones that are caucusing. Now, Frankie, if we want to look directly behind me, I'm going to step out of frame, but keep it lined up there. You can see that sign says uncommitted. That is the uncommitted vote. It's a pretty small section. Next to that, we have the Warren section, which is pretty large. That whole probably lasts 8 or so chairs on that side of the room. The back, half of it is Warren. The other half is Bernie. So then we're going to continue walking around the room. So let's kind of pan a little bit and take a look. The front of the room is Pete Buttigieg. He also has a very large section of supporters. To the right of that is Joe Biden. Then we have the other candidates, Amy Klobuchar. We have Andrew Yang. We have quite a few candidates in here, of course. There's quite a large field. Now, earlier I told you we were miking up an undecided voter. It looks like he is not speaking right now, so we're not going to turn up his microphone just at this time. But he did tell me some interesting things about why he's undecided. He told me that one of the reasons is just the amount of people that are in the race this year. It's his third time caucusing. He's 25 years old, but he said he came in, there are just so many options that he doesn't really know fully who he's going to choose. He did tell me who he's not going to choose, though, are the older candidates. He wants somebody younger here to choose from to be his president, he said. He doesn't want to pick an older candidate. He wants somebody that he can relate to on a deeper level. So those are some of the issues that we've been hearing about. Now, we also, of course, saw several decided voters walking in, decided caucus goers, I should say. They sat down in their respective locations. Now, something new this year, there are preference cards. So in the past, you could walk into the Democratic caucuses and you would just break up into preference groups, and that would be the end of it. There wouldn't be a possibility for recounts, anything like that, no paper trail, no paper record. One of the things that the Democratic Party did to make this more transparent and kind of fix some issues, is they decided to have these presidential preference cards. So first preference, you are going to be writing down the name of the candidate that you are caucusing for. After that, if your candidate's viable, that's it. You're locked in. You cannot change who you are caucusing for. But let's say that you caucus for a candidate that is not viable. Most of the time, that is that 15% threshold. So let's say that you are for a candidate that is not viable that first round. Then you're going to flip that preference card over during second alignment. You're going to go to your group. your preference group. After that, you are then going to write down that second choice that you made. Another option, though, you can still say that, nope, I'm going to stay with that first choice and leave that backside blank. Turn it in at the end. That's so if you want to have a recount or there's something like that that comes up, some sort of issue, there is a paper trail of who you actually caucused for. They also are hoping that that kind of speeds up this process a little bit, because after first preference, now people can go home. They can leave the caucus. That wasn't a thing in the past, but now it is an option. So if you are in a viable group, you don't have to wait through that second alignment to actually leave the caucus, because these do get pretty lengthy. There are, again, if you're just joining us, 600, almost 700 seats in here. Most of them are full, so that is a lot of people that they have to go through and individually count. So what they're going to do first, our caucus chair is going to go around and count the room. They are going to see how many people are in this room right now so that they can have a baseline for when they are dividing up into preference groups. Then you go into your alignments, you do the math to try to figure out viability, and then you start going through alignment, the second alignment, if people are not viable. So you can imagine just how long that is going to take. We are right now finishing up the registration process. If you're just joining us, we are at Des Moines University at the Olson Center. This is the first caucus happening here at the Olson Center. This is
folks,
a pretty large caucus.
Attention, please.
We have the caucus chair on again, so let's take a listen into him.
I am incredibly impressed with everybody tonight. We are all checked in before 7:15. That is amazing. I want to particularly thank the folks who had to wait in line in the voter registration line. I know that was frustrating for some of you who are actually already registered to vote, but were not in that list. So I want to thank you for your patience. Sometimes, as Rob said, these things do get messy, so we appreciate that. My name is Bill Brock, and I'm calling our caucus to order. I'm the temporary chair, appointed by Polk County Central Committee Chair Sean Begneski. And I live in Des Moines, but I don't live in your precinct. I live in Beaverdale, and I usually chair Precinct 16. But Sean asked me in particular to come over and chair your precinct, and I was happy to do it. I think there were some issues 4 years ago, and I am very experienced in chairing things. I've chaired the last 4 state conventions and the last 4 district conventions, so hopefully I will help things go smoothly tonight, but if I mess up, let me know about it. I want to hear. But I'm really, really glad to be here tonight. At this time, I would like us all to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Well, I want to welcome you and thank you for coming out tonight to caucus for you, who you think should be our next president. When you walk through those doors tonight, you were taking the first step to the end of the Trump presidency, and it can't come soon enough. Since I think it's fair to predict that our 2 senators will not do the right thing on Wednesday, it will be up to us to vote Mr. Trump out of office, and that's exactly what we're going to do this fall. You know, one of the key reasons we were able to start almost at 7, and 7:12 is fantastic, because of the 15 volunteers that we had tonight checking you in all spots, helping lines move along. Let's thank them. There are, 1,678 precinct caucuses across the state right now, and they're all being run by volunteers. It's an extraordinary endeavor, and we should all be proud. I also want to give Des Moines University a huge hand for letting us use this room tonight. When we found out that the rooms we had reserved at Hy-Vee Hall were not going to be adequate, 10 days before tonight, these folks stepped forward and said, we can help you. Now, we are renting the room at a reasonable rate. But they didn't have to say that. Their staff has been incredible, absolutely incredible, giving us everything we needed. Let's give them a big hand. Now it's time to get to work. Our primary purpose of our caucus this evening is to elect delegates, alternates, and convention committee members to the county convention to be held on March 21st. To elect precinct committee members who will serve as voting members of the county central committee representing this precinct for the next 2 years, and to discuss and adopt resolutions to be recommended to the Polk County Platform Committee. To give you a quick idea of how we're going to proceed tonight, first, we're going to elect our permanent chair and our permanent secretary. Our temporary secretary is Jesse Flannery. Jesse, thank you very much. Then I'm going to read short presentations from IDP Chair Troy Price and Polk County Chair Sean Bagneski. Then we will calculate and announce the viability threshold for the precinct. And we'll accomplish that by counting the room, as I mentioned. Then we're going to hear from our other elected officials who are here tonight and from representatives of any of the presidential campaigns that wish to give short presentations. And I've asked them to keep it to 90 seconds. So we will hold them to that. After viability is determined, we'll break into preference groups for our first expression of preference, otherwise known as the first alignment. I expect that will take about 20 minutes. We'll see how it goes. If we need more time, we can extend it. If we're done before 20 minutes, wonderful. There is an important change in the process this year. You may have heard about this, but I want to make sure everyone understands that when you align, if you are in a viable group at the end of first alignment, then you may not realign. You must stay in that viable group. So, for example, one of the concerns people have is, well, what if uncommitted is viable? That means you have to stay in uncommitted. So if we have a lot of folks in uncommitted tonight, you need to know that. If your plan was to be uncommitted and then move to another group, if your group is viable, then you cannot move. So just wanted to make that crystal clear. And I will remind you again. At the end of first alignment, we'll count each preference group and announce the numbers in which groups are viable. At that time, we will ask you to complete side one of your presidential preference card, and everybody will complete side one, regardless whether their group is viable. And then in viable groups, you will turn those cards in to your group leader. After those cards are completed and turned in, then I will announce that the realignment process has begun for those folks who are in non-viable groups. And their choices could be to join a viable group, or if there are enough of them to be viable on their own, they could all join together under uncommitted or under a candidate. We'll just have to see where things stand after the first alignment. Once we are done with realignment, then we will determine how many delegates each group has won and announce all of this. And we will also then have those groups go to electing their delegates to the county convention. We have 11 delegates that we may elect from this caucus. Following that, then we will move on to other business, electing the two people that will represent the precinct on the county central committee and take up platform resolutions. Now, it is time to elect a permanent caucus chair and secretary. Now, as the temporary chair, I've been trained and certified by the Iowa Democratic Party to run a caucus. And because the county chair appointed me to this position, I'm automatically nominated. Are there any other nominations for chair? Your silence is deafening. All right. With that, I will take that as a motion to elect me as chair. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Really? No. Any opposed, say nay. No. All right. There's always one. Always one. All right. Now we will take up nominations for permanent caucus secretary, and I would like to have someone nominate Jessica Flannery. Is there a
If you are
second?
just joining us, we are
right. Any other
live
nominations?
at a Democratic
Any
caucus
further
at Des Moines
nominations?
University at the Olson Center at Des Moines University.
Hearing
The
none,
caucus chair
we'll take
was
that
just
as a
formally
motion to
elected. They are now
approve,
picking a caucus
Jessie as
secretary.
our
Now, this is being done
permanent
at
secretary.
caucuses
All in
all
favor, say
across the
aye.
state. These are
Any
the people
opposed,
that
say
are
nay.
actually running this
right, very
caucus,
good.
making
Thank
sure that
you.
everyone is
Appreciate it.
counted
Thank you for
and
that.
everything is done correctly.
By the way, you may
Now,
have
things
noticed there are
already
some
are
cameras
moving a
here,
lot
right?
faster than
That's
normal from what I can tell.
WOITV5
They did comment about that they are amazed at how
over the
quickly
internet
everybody got
tonight.
checked in.
So if you happen
So
to
it seems
walk
like
by
right
one of the
now here at
reporters,
this location
what
at
you
Des Moines
say.
University, everything is running pretty smooth. But
No,
let's
seriously,
check back in with the caucus chair and
good
hear what
to,
he's saying right now.
Seriously. It's good to have them here tonight, and we want to thank them for coming. I know we have other media here. I know the Register is here, and I had told the BBC was going to be here. There may be others here as well, and we welcome all of them. They are instructed not to interact with voters during the caucus itself. Once the caucus is adjourned, you're fair game, and it's up to you whether you wish to visit with them. But in any event, they have permission to walk about on the exterior of things, take notes, film, and do their jobs. And we are so glad the media is here to do their job. We are really proud of the media in this country. At this time, I would like to read the letter from Sean Bagneski, the Polk County Chair, and it's a little long, so I might cut it short. We'll see. Fellow Polk County Democrats, after 4 long years, tonight Iowa will finally cast the first vote of the 2020 election. Since the last time we met for a presidential caucus, our Democratic Party has had to build itself up almost from scratch by amazing volunteers and organizers like yourselves. In 2018, we won the highest Democratic vote margin in Polk County's history and even beat President Obama's record from 2012. We sent our first absentee ballot piece. We held every incumbent seat. We helped flip 4 seats in the State House in Polk County. All 4 were women. We were incredibly proud to elect Cindy Axne as our first Congresswoman. And she is doing a fantastic job. By the way, we have our nomination papers in the far back corner of the room for our various candidates for elective office. And to get on the ballot, they need your signatures. So if you have a chance tonight, if you haven't already, please do take a look and sign those. In 2019, just this past fall, we helped flip 13 city council and school board seats in Polk County. These were Democrats. Yes, they're nonpartisan seats, but Republicans have played that game for a long time, and it was time for us to build the bench, and we got to it. 9 of those 13 were women, 5 were people of color. Our steak fry in September was the biggest in American history, with 12,242 attendees from all 50 states, and we followed it up a month later with our second visit from our Speaker of House, Nancy Pelosi. Tonight will almost certainly be the biggest caucus in our history. With our Democratic community groups, we've booked 177 sites in Polk County alone. From school cafeterias and church basements to auditoriums and arenas, we've never spent more time planning out these caucuses. One thing I want to point out tonight, and he points this out as well, tonight the Polk County Democrats have expended more than $20,000 of donated funds to reserve sites all over, including the Knapp Center for one of our largest caucuses. This is an extraordinary thing. We've never done this before, but we wanted folks to have a great experience in a great venue and not have some of the things happen that happened in 2016 when you read about people having to stand outside in the cold and so on. And so tonight is an example of that, and we have other really fine facilities that we've gotten this year. And we only did that because so many people have worked so hard, including a number of folks in this room, to build up the Polk County Democrats and raise money so we could do things like this and also elect people to office. So thank you for all you've done on behalf of the Polk County Democrats. I will be handing out a donation envelope for them as well as for the state party, and give generously and often. And now, a quick message from Iowa Democratic Party Chair Troy Price, who is doing just a fantastic job as party chair. Welcome and thank you for attending your 2020 Precinct Caucus. Tonight you are joining fellow Iowa Democrats gathered all across the state to do what we do best: organize and mobilize. But as you gather tonight, I hope you also take some time to celebrate with each other the growing strength of our party and continue to work together to make our party even better. There is no doubt we have our work cut out for us this year. That's why the work you are doing tonight is so important. This is the first step in building a strong grassroots organization that will take our state and country into a new direction. But to do that, we must be united. You may have entered tonight as a supporter of one of our outstanding presidential candidates, and I hope you are successful. But regardless of the outcome, when you leave tonight, we must all be united as Iowa Democrats, ready to fight for our values. Because together, we can take back the Iowa legislature and win important seats at the courthouse. Together, we can sweep all 4 congressional districts. And wouldn't it be nice to say former Congressman Steve King? Right? Together, we can put a Democrat back in the U.S. Senate. You know, has there ever been a senator who has done so little in 5 years as Joni Ernst? I can't imagine. I can't think of the things she's accomplished. I want to hear about former Senator Ernst as well. Finally, the Iowa Democratic Party stands shoulder to shoulder with you in this fight. And together, I know that we will be able to celebrate in November the brighter, progressive future that stands ahead of us. Thank you so much for being a part of this historic night and being a part of the Iowa Democratic Party. And again, I will pass their envelope very shortly. At this point, I would like to invite
joining us, you are watching a
Josh
Democratic
Mandelbaum,
caucus
our city
at
council
the
member
Olson
from the
Center
district.
at Des
There we
Moines
go,
University.
Josh
There are
is one of
a
our
good amount of
elected
people
officials, of
here
course,
right now.
and,
They are
fairly
doing
new to
opening
the city council.
statements. First things
And
first
you're
at a
doing a
caucus. This
fantastic
is a
job,
party meeting,
Josh.
so
Worked with
of
me
course
at the
they're going to be
Attorney
asking
General's
for
office.
donations. That's called, they're going to pass the hat. They're going to get those donations.
He's
Then
a real
that is
environmental leader
when
in our state.
the real show starts, the thing that everybody I'm sure wants to see, the actual preferences for president.
And I know I'm not what you came here for, so I'm going to be quick, but there are 3 things that I want to do. One, I want to thank all of you. Thank you for coming, because it shows that you care about our community and our country, and you're willing to do something about it. So thank you for being here tonight. Number 2, I want to encourage you to keep up this fight until November. Tonight is just but one step, and if whatever brought you here, why ever you are here, we've got to keep that in mind and keep working towards that goal, whoever our nominee is and whatever brought you here tonight. Let's keep at it until November so we get the change that we deserve and the change that we need. And the third thing I want to encourage all of you to do is work with me at the local level, because whatever brought you to this room, whatever reason you're here, whether it's because you care about good governance or you care about climate change, gun safety, affordable housing, whatever you care about, I guarantee you there are things happening right now at the local level where you can make a difference. And I want you to be a part of that. I want to be your voice, but I need to hear from you, I need to engage with you, and I want you to be a part of that. And I know you care because you're here tonight, so thank you, and let's keep it up.
Thank you, sir. I now want to recognize another elected official, my friend and your neighbor, Attorney General Tom Miller. Before you clap, Tom recently became the longest-serving Attorney General in the history of the United States of America, and we are so lucky that he has been in that position so long, and I was lucky because he kept me employed for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney General Tom Miller.
A lot of big names here tonight at Des Moines University's location. We have the Attorney General on stage right now. We also had the State Auditor. He was up earlier. I did speak with the State Auditor a little bit ago. He says that he's actually not caucusing for anybody for a variety of reasons, which we can get into later. But right now I want to take a listen to what's going on up on stage.
Two, he did just incredible work for you as the head of the Consumer Protection Division in our office. And three, he just gave me a great introduction. Hey, Bill. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to thank you for supporting me for so long and, so many times. The Office of Attorney General is just such a great office because you get to use the law to serve the interest of ordinary people. And, I have found that so fulfilling. And, I feel great when I go home from work, even if it's been a difficult day, because we're able to do that. And I never would have this chance, not even once, but for people like the people in this room. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. And also want to talk a little bit about November. We just have so much at stake in Iowa. Come this November. We'll have the presidential race, our participation in that. But we've got just a great chance to take back the Iowa House. We need 4 more House members. And let me tell you, that is terribly important. It is so important that we break the dominance of the Republicans having the governor's office, the House, and the Senate. There's just so many things that have gone through there that never should have and won't if we can get the Iowa House. We have a good chance to win that Senate race. Keep your eye on the Senate race. We've got good candidates. I think Senator Ernst is vulnerable. That would be incredibly important for the whole country, because that could change who controls the Senate. I think Cindy Axne is one of the best members of Congress in the whole country. I have enormous respect for her character, her conviction, her ability to campaign, and that's going to be a close race. We need to help her in every way we can. And in the Iowa Senate, we're probably not going to be able to get control, but we need to get some seats back so that we're positioned to have a chance to get control next time around. And, I sort of grew up in the shadow of the Dubuque County Courthouse, so the county races are really important. We have so much at stake. And, most of all, we have to be united in the fall. I don't know who's going to be our nominee, but whoever our nominee is, I'm going to be 100% for him or for her. It is so important that we get Trump out of office. And, let's face it, we've been slipping a little bit in Iowa. The Republicans have been gaining. So we have no margin for error. We have no margin for disunity in the fall. We have to all be united. We have to all be working together in every way we can to win all the races. And let me switch gears to my button here. Those of you in the front can see it. It's a big Biden button, and let me tell you why I'm for Joe Biden. There are really three basic reasons. One is that I believe he's a good man of wonderful character, impressive character. He's got integrity. He's got empathy, a great deal of empathy for all of us, and he always does the right thing, in my opinion. And it is just outrageous what Trump and the Republicans have done to him and are trying to do to him. It's a little bit reminiscent of the Swift boat operation against my friend John Kerry. It's absolutely outrageous. Second reason is I think he'd be a good president, a very good president, particularly in today's times. I think he would try and succeed as best as anybody can to heal some of the wounds in our country. And I think he's very well prepared to remedy the great damage internationally that is done by President Trump. The third reason I'm for him is I think he's the most electable. And a couple of reasons I say that. One, and primarily, is that one of the reasons we haven't done as well as we would like to here in Iowa and in the presidential race 4 years ago is we've lost working class votes that we shouldn't lose. Well, I think working class people believe very correctly that he cares for them, that he works for them, that he has empathy for them. And I think he has a chance to bring back that vote in a significant way in places like Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, of course. His electability is evidenced in the polling, the matchups with Trump over the last year. He has consistently run well, better than anybody else. So, I ask you to help Joe. We need a few more people probably to be viable. So if you have any interest in Joe's campaign, please come and join us. But most of all, let's be united in November and win then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, you may have just heard the Attorney General mention that Joe Biden's campaign may actually not be viable at this caucus location here at Des Moines University. Now, one side of the room is Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Warren, and they are a large majority of who appears the people at this caucus site are supporting. If you look over at the Biden group, which on the screen is going to be the right side, the right chairs, the front of that is the Biden supporters, and there are quite a bit of empty chairs up there. So it looks like Joe Biden has his work cut out for him here at this specific caucus location at Des Moines University. But there's still a lot to be said. We just heard somebody make a pitch for people to go support Joe Biden, but we'll see if he's able to get viable in this race here at Des Moines University. Now let's dip in to see what this Pete Buttigieg supporter has to say.
As a family practice retired physician, he understood the difference between Medicare for all who want it and Medicare for all. Medicare for all would weaken rural health hospitals and increase the number that are closing. The other thing that really amazed me was how he could talk about difficult emotional issues and not offend people, but draw them into the conversation. He would talk about abortion that way. He would talk about faith that way. I remember when he said, God, no party owns God. And at the same time, he remembered to say, and you don't have to believe in any God. Everybody can talk and come to an agreement about issues. Pete listens, and then he chooses his words really carefully so that he unites people. He doesn't needlessly offend or divide people. And he invites us to participate in making America a better place, whether we're going to participate through a volunteer youth national corps, or whether we're going to participate in approaching climate control with aggressive, progressive policies. He reminds us that we have a responsibility to each other. And I see that in his plan to make sure that every single person gets covered for health care. And also to finally really make a livable wage a reality in this country.
Priscilla, time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Come on up. Next is the Sanders campaign.
All right. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, thank you, Bill, so much, and thank you all for being here. This is an amazing turnout. But tonight I'm caucusing for Bernie Sanders because I know that when he's in the White House, he'll fight for us because he always has. 4 years ago, Iowa made America believe that change is really possible. We made America believe that we could raise wages, expand Social Security, guarantee equal pay for equal work, and confront climate change. And as a member of the youth in America, climate change is extremely important to me. And Bernie was endorsed by the Sunrise Movement, a youth-led grassroots organization that is centered on combating climate change. They endorsed Bernie Sanders because he's been talking about the climate crisis since 1980, and he's displayed political courage by standing up on the front lines of strikes and picket lines ever since then. And he also has a holistic vision which takes into account the interconnectedness of immigration, healthcare, racial justice, inequality, environmental justice, and democracy. But it's not just the issues. Bernie is the best candidate to defeat Donald Trump because he's already won 15 elections over his career, all the way from the mayoral level all the way up to the U.S. Senate. He's raised more money than any other Democratic candidate without any billionaire donors. He beats Trump in nearly every poll, and especially in swing states. And he's got such a large volunteer campaign that's knocked over 500,000 doors in Iowa and made 10 million calls. So one last thing is that the reason why he's polling well, it's because his message is resonating with Americans. So tonight, we ask you to join the movement with us and win the Iowa caucus, defeat Donald Trump, and transform this country. Thank you so much.
You are just joining us. You are watching a Democratic caucus at Des Moines University right now. Supporters of candidates are speaking, making their pitches to the uncommitted caucus goers that are here in this room tonight. It appears that Amy Warren's campaign is going up right now to make their final pitches. So we will check in with them once they get up onto the stage. There's quite a turnout here at this location. So far, after talking to caucus chair Bill Brock, there haven't been many issues, and actually things are moving pretty quickly here. So we'll see how long this caucus takes once we get to the counting and once these people start forming preference groups. But let's check back in with Amy Klobuchar's supporters.
Our best chance to take the White House back. She has countlessly reached across the aisle to the Republicans and has been willing to work with them. She's passed over 100 bills while her time in Senate. She has that accountability and that drive. She has that Midwestern grit.
Yeah, I agree. My name is Megan Schulteis. I'm one of your neighbors. I'm also a Gen Xer, which means I am one of those people stuck in the middle of all of these issues. I have. There we go. Can you hear me? Okay, my name is Megan Schulteis. I'm one of your neighbors. I'm also one of those Gen Xers that's right in the middle. I have kids in school, and I have in-laws and parents that need my help. My husband and I do it all, and at the same time, we see all of our neighbors like you struggling with pharmacy bills, the pharmaceutical companies. Amy has said she is going to take that on as her healthcare initiative. She has said that providing child care credits and providing access to child care is one of her things. And Social Security, she isn't somebody that's standing up there and saying that she's going to change it. She is there for us. And like Sam has said, her bills that she passes are not bills just on the Democratic side. She reaches across the aisle. And if we really want to win this campaign in November, we're going to need to talk to our neighbors who aren't here tonight. And we're going to have a candidate that they can get behind, because your neighbors are not all in for Trump. Your neighbors want somebody else too. And Amy Klobuchar is who you should support tonight.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on behalf of the Andrew Yang campaign? Oh, right here. Good.
America sent a very clear message in 2016. We are tired of career politicians who say that they're acting on our behalf, yet they accept corporate money that just drives their votes in ways that boggle your mind. Andrew Yang is the right guy to fix that. If you listen to him, he talks more about what we together can do for change. His campaign promises aren't about what he will do, it's about what we will do. This Iowa caucus is a true constitutional gift that we have. Our mission here tonight is to send a message to the world and let them know that there is another person out there worth listening to. We shouldn't squander this opportunity. It's a real honor. So, my neighbors, fellow Iowans, let's send the world a message. If we're willing to elect a narcissistic reality TV host to be our president, why not an Asian man who likes math?
If you are just joining us, you are watching a Democratic caucus at Des Moines University. Right now we are hearing from supporters from candidates. We just heard from a supporter of Andrew Yang. Looks like a Elizabeth Warren supporter is making her way to the stage right now. Now, these supporters going up here do have limits on how long they can speak, but it appears that not many of them are being cut off from the speeches that they're making are pretty to the point. I think everybody's trying to just get to the point of letting the counts begin. So let's listen in to this Elizabeth Warren supporter.
Support at the caucus tonight for Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren wasn't born a Democrat, but she spent years studying bankruptcy and found out that that was a major cause for why people went broke. Her experience led her to listen to people, to hear what's going on, and she saw that there's massive corruption. Her training led her to understand financial regulation. And what she saw was massive, massive corruption. She also believed that every single person in America deserves to be treated with dignity and respect and listened to and cared about. So she's a woman with big plans, and we say, well, that's kind of scary, but big plans aren't really that unusual. In the 1920s, we had massive corruption that brought our economic situation to a halt. We also had a man-made ecological disaster called the Dust Bowl. We elected FDR, and he made big structural change to heal the land so the dust didn't blow and to save our economy and put people back to work. In the 1960s, Democrats had big plans. We decided to put a man on the moon because really, if things were easy, the Republicans would have done it already. So we put a man on the moon. We passed the Civil Rights Bill. We passed the Voting Rights Bill. We passed Medicare. And now here we are again. In the early 2000s, we had so much corruption. In 2007, we had another economic crash. And Obama got elected right after that crash hit. And wonderfully, thanks to Nancy Pelosi and a lot of Democrats in the House at the time for the first 2 years of his term, we got Obamacare passed. And since then, the Republicans have been trying to kill it over and over and over again. They have voted to get rid of it, to get rid of coverage for pre-existing conditions, to get rid of voting rights, to change the judiciary. Well, it's time again for big structural change, because until we get rid of the corruption that we're dealing with that's holding us all back, we can't really get what we need in terms of health care, in terms of voting rights, in terms of everything else. So I ask for your support for Elizabeth Warren. Thank you very much.